Hello, and welcome to the EQUUUS Film and Arts Fest podcast, the only program for horse lovers who have a fondness for horses in film, art, and literature. Each week, we will have interesting conversations with equestrian filmmakers, artists, and authors from around the world, discussing the nature and challenges as well as the triumphs of creating their work. Ready to talk horses and film and the arts? Here's your host, Julie Neal, along with Lisa Dearson, festival founder and director.
Hello and welcome to the EQUUUS Film and Arts Fest podcast. I'm your host, Julie Neal. In today's episode, you'll hear a preview from founder and director Lisa Dearson, all about the EQUUUS Film and Arts Fest 2020 festival. With a move to a virtual online event, this year's festival will feature even more films, literature, and art. We'll also speak with Douglas B. Maddox, director of Hope's Legacy, one of the films in the festival, and also the online premiere movie for Brooke USA's kickoff to the Power of One campaign. The film is a sequel to A Christmas Ranch, currently playing on Showtime and Netflix. For more information or to purchase tickets, visit brookeusa.org. Let's take a few minutes to check in with Lisa about festival plans and the online event.
They gave me a call. They talked a little bit to Diana, and Diana had said that EQUUUS could help them out. And so they reached out and gave me a call, and we talked quite a bit about different things we could do. And then going through and seeing who was the sponsors or the ambassadors of Brooke. There's quite a few eventers, and we just happened to be lucky enough this year that Doug made this great sequel to A Christmas story, and here we've got a really beautiful Hope's Legacy eventing film, kind of like the new Sylvester.
So did you set up for Doug to speak with them, or you just kind of knew the right people and you could just say, hey, we're going to do this?
Once we talked about, well, look, you have all you have the eventers, we have this film, let's highlight getting this film in as kind of the first virtual premiere of this film. The film won't even be out until the spring. It will be part of the EQUUUS Film Festival too, but the film will be out in the spring for everyone else to see. But those being able, for me, just putting all the pieces together, once a light bulb goes on, like all the rest of the little light bulbs in the background start going, oh, this works, this with that. And, just like if somebody talks about something about horses in an environment, I could go, well, we can do this and we can do that. And Bruce is doing this. And, all those kind of things start to interconnect with me. So it was very easy once we figured out, let's do the eventing film. And then right behind that, we've also, I don't know if anyone else has noticed what the schedule and the rundown on that festival is, but we've got 4 other eventing shorts in there. And then we also have stories, different films from the Brooke. So that's really, those little short pieces about the Brooke are super interesting pieces. So you're not only getting the one world premiere film, but you've also got a full evening where if you're all just kind of hanging around and wanting to watch something eventing themed, horse themed, you can do a whole evening with the family. Everybody can come for the price of one ticket. You can have a house full of people watching the TV.
And so if people buy a ticket at brookeusa.org, how have you set up this whole online experience? What would the person see if they've never been to your site?
They will go from Brooke USA. It'll take them right to the purchase the ticket page on the EQUUUS Film Festival Flicks channel, on the EQUUUS Film channel. And they'll see a banner across the top right underneath of the video that will say Films for a Cause. And that's what everybody needs to really understand, that we as horse people and horse lovers, the work that the Brooke does, and a lot of people still don't know what the Brooke does, but after this weekend and seeing these films, hopefully more people will be enlightened to the incredible amount of work that Brooke does. because you get outside of the borders of the United States, just into Mexico, into South America, into Africa, into parts of Asia and Europe, horses are still working every single day, horses and donkeys. And so the Brooke goes around and educates people on the proper care and veterinarian care, and educates people on how to be better horsemen. And by being better horsemen, their horses are better taken care of. The horses work longer, they live longer, they are functional longer. So it's a win-win all the way around. So that's the cause that the Brooke does. So buying a ticket to this film festival virtual event, you're helping them help those horses and donkeys. And so you can go in, and we've got The Fork in the Road, we've got Riding High, we've got When the Dust Settles, all kinds of other films that are inspirational and motivational, as well as Doug's film, Hope's Legacy, which I love. I loved Sylvester when I was younger. So this film is like a new Sylvester, kind of like a new Black Stallion. So, and it was filmed in Maryland.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. And I did not realize that the leading characters, Lizzie, they're married in real life. And so I'm not going to do no spoiler alert from me, but I just think it's pretty exciting when you have a team that works together. And of course, he has some new people in the mix too. I was so impressed. Diane Cannon, of course, is beautiful, but it's a lovely, lovely film. So can't wait to see the whole thing.
To get ready for it, everyone should sign up to the EQUUS Film channel at least for a week. Everyone gets a free week. So if you sign up for the film channel, you get a chance to watch The Christmas Ranch, which is the prelude story to this, how they met in Grandma's farm and who is Hope. And so
that's a great idea. Great idea. And then when this event is over, if people are still interested in films and want to watch more, when could they log back in or tune back in and see something new?
Well, then we're going to be tuning in November, and at November 13th through the 22nd, we're going to be hosting our virtual EQUUS Film Festival online event. It'll be a 10-day film festival. People will be able to see all of the new films that have been entered. We have 46 at least right now. We're still open for entries. 46 new books, literary works entered. We have a dozen amazing artists that are part of the festival. We have podcasts that have been entered for Winnie Awards. So they'll be able to see all of the artwork. They'll be able to give a peek at every one of the books that's entered. There will be webinars with every author and every filmmaker and every podcaster and every artist that people will be able to click and watch, and they'll be able to do that for the 10-day span of time. And we were able to keep the ticket. Doing virtual events is not an easy thing, but we're able to keep the ticket under $100 for the whole 10-day event. So for $99, you can tune in and watch 10 days worth of fun, exciting new EQUUS content and material, and see our festival and see who wins what awards. Or you can just watch the movies that you want to, and those are $7.99 each. So either way, it'll get people involved, and our films are from all over the world now this year. We've got films from Argentina, from the Netherlands. We have returning filmmakers. We'll have a couple of encore screenings of some of our favorite films, Daughters of the Polo God, and When the Dust Settles, and The Edge. And we're going to have, I'm going to be doing Their Last Ride again, so that people who didn't get a chance to see those before at other festivals will be able to tune in and see some of the encore screenings of films. So you'll have a pretty nice array of films that you'll be able to do every evening. And your ticket, it isn't just per person ticket. You can buy a ticket and your whole household can enjoy for the weekend. So
that's a great idea. Yeah, cool. Well, we've got a lot going on, and I'm excited about Films for a Cause. First of all, the Hope's Legacy benefit event, and we'll hope that everybody enjoys that, and then we have something to look forward to in November.
Right. It'll get us through the beginning part of the winter. And it's kind of fun doing it virtually, where more people around the world will be able to join us than ever have been able to before. And it being 10 days long, it gives a lot of people a chance to be able to get time to see it. So you're not just trying to cram it into a short 3-day like we do when we're having our parties and watching films, and nobody can catch the film that they wanted to see. And
yeah, that's true. Very true. Well, I think it's going to be fun, and I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. Couldn't do it without the team.
Oh, exactly. It's been fun to see everybody again, and we won't be in person, but we'll definitely be there in spirit.
We'll be there in heart.
Yes. Well, I'll talk to you again soon, Lisa. Thanks for joining us today.
You stay safe and pony on.
You too. Pony on.
Mark your calendars, folks, for a very special film event. Brooke USA will be premiering Hope's Legacy, a movie by Douglas B. Maddox, starring Diane Cannon. The movie is the sequel to A Christmas Ranch, which aired on Hallmark. Dates for this event are Thursday, October 15th at 4 p.m. and Friday, October 16th until 11:59 p.m. Access to the pre-selected content provided by Brooke USA will start at 4 p.m. The movie premieres at 7. The premiere of Hope's Legacy serves as the kickoff of The Power of One, Brooke USA's latest campaign set to raise $1 million over the next 12 months. Ticket prices begin at $25 for general admission. This virtual event is provided through a designated sub-channel on the EQUUS Film channel, solely for usage by Brooke USA. Our next guest today is a director, producer, and executive producer with years of experience in both film and video. Douglas B. Maddox has earned 25 Telly, Communicator, Videographer, Crown, and Aurora Awards. Doug was inducted into the Producers Guild of America in July of 2007 and was honored with the Mark A. Levy Distinguished Service Award in 2011. Doug also works in the distribution and representation of film, television, and documentaries. He's the founder and president of DBM Communications Incorporated, a marketing agency and video production company based in Maryland. Doug's latest release, Hope's Legacy, is scheduled for an upcoming online premiere as part of the Gala fundraising event for Brooke USA. Welcome, Doug. It's so good to talk to you today.
Oh, thank you, Julie. I appreciate it. Great to be here.
Yes. You know, it's funny. When I heard that I was going to have a chance to speak with you, I got really excited because I remember meeting you years ago at an EQUUS Film Festival event, and I believe we've seen each other, at least every year since then with something to do with EQUUS.
Yeah.
What was that in, I think, 2016 or 17 maybe, in New York?
Well, yeah, we met in New York and then down at Camden. It was a fantastic event you put on.
Oh,
and
thank
I
you.
love that about the EQUUS Film Festival, how it takes different stops around the world with the films that win. So it was such a pleasure to have Christmas Ranch going out and being shown there at that festival. So that was great.
Even then, it struck me that you said you made family-oriented films because there are not that many out there.
Yeah, we were really thankful because of the fact that it was a family inspirational film that Showtime and Netflix picked it up. So it was on there for 3 Christmas seasons, and now it's out on Apple and Amazon and so many other platforms. But it's also gone out throughout the international communities too, and I think we're in 3 languages, or maybe even a few more. It's called A Horse Called Hope internationally, and so that's kind of exciting. So it's got an AKA now, also known as.
That's so cool. I love it. Well, as with all that experience, and I've seen, the lists of the other films that you've been part of, either producing, directing with The Bill Collector, and even Elvis Home Movies as a film. I think that's pretty interesting. How did you get into filmmaking in the first place? Did you always know you were going to be a storyteller?
I think that I came from a family that struggled with communication, and as we learned to do that, I think I kind of championed it. I was kind of a quiet kid growing up, And so then I realized, man, I want to communicate better. I want to find out how we all can, make things better, communicate better. And then I was heading to aeronautical engineering school, and I took an intro to film course. And I had also done photography, and my mom's an artist, my sister's an artist, but I always looked at myself as a science math guy. And I took this intro to film course, and it just blew my mind, and it brought everything together. And so I started our company in 1990, 30 years ago. We're celebrating this year. And so it started in the communications, DBM Communications Incorporated. And then 15 years ago, my dream came true by getting our first feature film, The Bill Collector, with Danny Trejo. And that started DBM Films. And so I partnered with some friends out in LA and back here on the East Coast. And I've been going nonstop since. And it's all been on a wing and a prayer, because you've got to have faith in this industry, because it is tough. It's a tough one to make a living at.
Oh, I'm sure.
But we are so thankful, that we've been able to put out some great titles through the years, documentaries, television, and features. And we're doing a business at it, and we're having fun too. So it's been great working with the horse industry in Maryland for Christmas Ranch, and now the horse Hope's Legacy. I have to tell you, Hope's Legacy is a little tongue twister and a little funny thing, but Hope was the horse in Christmas Ranch,
right?
And Legacy is Hope's offspring. That's why it's
exciting.
called Hope's Legacy.
Well, you talk about location. First of all, you couldn't find him a more beautiful location. I think you told me that Christmas Ranch was filmed in Maryland.
Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, it was funny. The script was written for Oklahoma, and I talked to the writer, and I said, I think I want to do one in my backyard. And Kentucky, Maryland, and New York are the top horse states. And where, Maryland is the #1 horse capita, and a lot of people don't know that. And I've got to know Ross Petticord, and through him, I got to learn about you and Lisa at the EQUUS Film Festival. And it's a great horse community. And so when I did this film, it was more of like an introduction to eventing and horse eventing, but championing the location was Greenmount Farms. They were tremendous. It's like 21 acres, and I think they do a great job of horse breeding, and I think a lot of their horses end up in a lot of competitions regionally, and I think even nationally, but definitely regionally. So Greenmount Farms is a great location. But then on Hope's Legacy, we went to 3 additional farms beside Greenmount Farm.
Yeah, you expanded a lot with that. You've mentioned that this is a sequel. How did you go about casting for the second one? You had Taylor Lyons again as Lizzie, I'm sure. You couldn't change that, and then a couple other people too. But then you had some new names coming into the mix, and Diane Cannon and others. How did that work?
We expanded for sure. This was a bigger picture. I was so excited to have Rob Burke at the U.S. Equestrian, and he was delighted to take me to the Kentucky 5-star, and he showed me around, and he called this film International Velvet. And I was so tickled by that, and like, okay, that's pretty cool. So we're not that, the higher jumps in that movie, we're probably more of the medium-sized jumping. But we go all out on horse eventing. The film is basically all about horse eventing from beginning, middle, and end. And U.S. Equestrian even got behind us on this. And so it's been exciting to partner with all these different sponsors and folks, Maryland Horse Industry Board. But I knew that I wanted to make a bigger film, and so I needed bigger stars. And so my friend out in L.A., Susan Wales, has just been a dear friend of mine for many years in my family. And she knew about this script, and she said, "Hey, Doug, I've got a friend named Diane Cannon." I said, "I'd love to talk to her." So she introduced me, got to meet her at her Bible study out in LA. And I said, "Do you do independent films?" She goes, "It really depends on the script, Doug." And she was so lovely. I said, "Well, I'll send you the script if you'd like to read it." she read it, loved it, and she came on all board. And I was like so thrilled to have her. And she took this film up several notches, to be very frank with you. Her caliber just rose all the actors up. And, you know, she's been doing this for over 50 years. And I love her presence in this film.
Well, I saw in one of the previews that she's introduced at the door as not a grandmother, but a glam mother. And she's certainly glamorous and beautiful. And, oh man, she's got that star power, you know. But seems like a lovely person to work with. So your cast, you know, that family-oriented theme, is the cast also pretty much a family after you've been together, a lot of you, for so long?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you definitely get to know each other pretty well. And a new young star is Dylan Steele, who plays the granddaughter. Okay. And she's a local actress here in Maryland, and so I was happy to have her. But I would say we had pretty much all the cast fly in from out of state except for a handful. So it was quite, like I said, a much bigger, larger film than I have done before. So it was wonderful.
How did you cast the horses? That would be the hardest part to me.
Oh my gosh. It was so fun because as I visited the farms and you know, looked at the different locations, I got to know the people, like Jody Dawson at Fair Hill Stables, and she basically said, "Hey, I think I have a horse that you can work with named Spock." And so I was like, that would be so great. And I think Bodie, the Olympian, rode Spock, and so that was kind of cool. Yeah. And so we're thrilled to have Spock in the film, and of course, Hope is Stephanie Smith's horse from Virginia, who came up to reappear in the film. And then Legacy is Miri out at Full Moon Farm, Karen Fulton's horse. I think Grace also is a eventing champion, her daughter, and let us use her horse. And so with that, we got, you know, some amazing riders that, you know, Grace rode, and so many other great people rode for us. We had so many volunteers. We had horse extras. We had people extras. I think when you look at the credits, we have a special presentation coming with Brooke USA, and it's going to be so fun. And just look at the credits. It's hundreds of people.
That's awesome. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by JA Media Productions. We love storytelling, plain and simple. Through podcasting, digital media, and documentary filmmaking, we strive to connect our stories and our audience in order to make a difference in the world. We are particularly interested in animals and animal welfare, especially horses. If you look through our work, you'll find stories of animal rescue in the Spotlight Rescue series, stories of horses, donkeys, and mules in the Brooke USA on the Road or EQUUS Film and Arts Fest podcasts, or training tips and more in the Winnie Tales series. You can find us on social media through our Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube channels, or wherever you find your favorite podcasts. For more information, visit jamediaconnections.com. With the U.S. Eventing Association coming in as a partner to sponsor this event, and that must feel pretty good to you, because that if they're endorsing it at the film and you,
I want to thank Brooke USA for sure. This is going to be so fun. When Lisa came to me with this opportunity, and we had just finished the film, and they said, "Hey, this is a possibility." I said, "You know what? I'd love to do it." And so when they said yes, it made me so happy to get this out to the community. You know, this is going to be just a one showing as we get ready to release. So we're going to be releasing most likely by the end of the year, early 2021, somewhere in that vicinity, on all the video on demand digital platforms and all over the place, as many places we can get. So have your listeners look for it when it comes time, and I'm sure we'll be at the EQUUS Film Festival again. And
definitely,
so this is a very special screening premiere for Hope's Legacy with Brooke USA. So.
Well, it's a great opportunity. It's a win-win, you know, for both, for the film and for the fundraising efforts of Brooke USA.
100 million working horses, donkeys, and mules support 600 million of the world's poorest people. They are the sole source of income for many families through the backbreaking labor of their animals. Unfortunately, the majority of these working equines are suffering from chronic welfare issues and premature death, nearly all of which are preventable. Brooke USA provides funding for scientifically proven, practical, and sustainable equine welfare programs throughout the developing world. We work primarily through Brooke, the world's largest international equine welfare charity, which reaches 2 million working equines annually, benefiting 12 million people who depend on them. When we fund training for people and veterinary interventions for working equines, Brooke USA effectively prevents and eases the suffering of these animals and ensures better livelihoods for people now and for generations to come. Projects recently funded by Brooke USA include construction of permanent water troughs in Ethiopia, continuing education for veterinarians in Senegal, training for Maasai women who own donkeys in Kenya, veterinary interventions in Pakistan, disease prevention and training for animal healthcare workers in India, improved nutrition for animals in Guatemala, and so much more. We also recently funded emergency relief programs for equine victims of natural disasters in the U.S. and Puerto Rico. Please help us fund even more solutions to the world's most challenging equine welfare problems.
You know, how has the whole COVID pandemic affected you with this release? I know you were so excited about it back in, February. I think we emailed a little bit back and forth, and then everything hit. And so how has that affected not only the film and the release, but just the rest of your work in general?
Yeah, it's not been easy. I'm thankful again for Faith because, it's been a rough year. But I will say, whenever you give a filmmaker some time, we'll take it and try to perfect it. We kept working on the film and doing this, doing that, tweaking this, tweaking that. So we wanted a, really good job for, the horse eventing community and horse lovers community. So we just kept working on it during that time. So while we were ready to show it back in April, we just kind of said, hey, let's just make it a little better and tweak some things here and tweak some things there. And I feel like this has been, a great outcome. I was able to get two songs put in it. The Grey Haven, a music group down in Nashville, they have a wonderful song about Band of Gold. It's called Band of Gold. And so I was able to license that song for the film. And another great talented musician and singer-songwriter out of Nashville, Tori Martin. She's on the top 25 list of Texas charts, and then moved to Nashville. She was in American Idol and The Voice. And so we were just so happy to get her song into the credits of the film called Fun. And it is a lot of fun. That song's great. And so I was able to get a couple extra things that I really wanted. I always wanted some music, special music. We've got a great score and got great sound mixing with Scott Weber. And so, really took the time to do what we could do. I've been working on some TV shows and working on documentary. We also do distribution with DBM Films, so I'm keeping busy on that front. The DBM communication side, it's been a little harder, but things are starting to open up now. And, hoping that, business will start coming back. We had so many cancellations throughout the year, and now people are starting to say, okay, I'm ready to, get back and socially distance and be smart and wear a mask, but, get out there and do production again. So
sure. Well, that's great that you do have both sides of what you do. I mean, and so many filmmakers are out there I know that feeling where you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I find the right people to do this part of the job, or how do I fund this or whatever. And so
I know. Yeah. It's funny. I mean, I had a lot of people return, a core group, maybe I'd say four or five people return from Christmas Ranch, but all the rest were new hires. And so every time you make a film, it's like, scheduling and finding new talent. So it's always a fascinating time making movies, and especially in the horse industry, partnering with farms and the different sponsors. And so you get to meet new people, you get to work with some great talent and new talent. And yeah, we did bring back Taylor Lyons and Alan Williamson. I had met with them out in LA, and I said, hey, listen, I want to do, it's a standalone story, but it's the next part of the story to Christmas Ranch. And they were so excited to be a part of it. And then when they found out Diane Cannon was, that just took them over the roof. They had gotten married since Christmas Ranch. Yeah. Taylor and Alan are married in real life.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's
pretty
exciting
cool.
News. Yes, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, the story arc, I love in the first one, the story arc for her character, and she's so troubled and she kind of grows into this self-awareness thing. We're not doing any spoilers, no spoiler alerts here, so we don't want to give anything away, but I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with her character.
I will say she's much more grown up, and she's got an antagonist, and so played by Abigail, and she's amazing. So there is a bully she's got to overcome. But
there's that competition.
Yeah, competition bully, and so we'll see how she does in the film. But it's pretty cool because we do all 3 phases of eventing, and we've got 3 montages of horses and jumping and so many other great aspects to the horse world. So it's been a blast. I mean, when we did a farm screening, and so many people came up to me and said, just thank you for being such a part of the horse community. I said, man, it's my privilege.
Definitely. Well, now I have to ask, do you ride? Are you in horses and
yeah, I ride.
Daily?
I do not own. Yes.
Okay.
I love horses and riding. I wish I could do it more, frankly. I'm getting older.
Oh, I know that feeling. God, I know the feeling. It's good that you had folks who knew what they were doing kind of on set and helping, because horse people can be very particular.
Yeah, we actually had one of the ladies over at the Maryland Horse Council. She deals with the EQUUS magazine, and she was so awesome. And she read the script and did all kinds of wordsmithing for me, making sure we got the words right, and just timing of the pacing of the eventing right. And so that was a real privilege working with them. And like I said, U.S. Equestrian Association, the U.S. Eventing Association, the Maryland Horse Industry Board, the EQUUS, so many wonderful people came back out here and just supported this endeavor in production, and are going to support it in distribution too. So we want as many fans as possible. So they got to go to Hope's Legacy page on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube. Go to DBM Films and like and subscribe so that we can hear from you and see what you think of the movie. And got to sign up for the Brooks USA big event coming up. They're going to be raising some money throughout the year, and this will be a great way to kick that off.
Yes, absolutely. Actually, this premiere of Hope's Legacy is the kickoff for their the Power of One initiative. It's their latest campaign, and they're set to raise over $1 million over the next 12 months. So I can't think of a better way to put 2 phenomenal things together and get to have some fantastic entertainment, but also do it while you're making a difference for horses and donkeys and mules across the world. So that's a pretty special thing.
For sure.
So Doug, what is your next project? What's next on your agenda?
Right now, Jody up at Fair Winds, she's got a nice project, another horse movie, and we're going through pre-production on that right now. And then we've got the distribution side of this is a big job. It's the marketing and the putting it on platforms and getting it on TV. And so I'm going to stay busy through the end of the year on that. And then just continuing to work on a television show and some documentaries and growing DBM communications. So if any of your listeners have or need consulting help in distribution world or need help with partnering in the film world, I'm all ears and ready to go. And it's all about bringing people's creative vision to life. So that's what I do, and happy to help others too.
That's great. And it's dbmcommunications.com is for the marketing side, right?
Right. And then dbmfilm.com and then dbmfilmstore.com is where we sell the DVDs and so on. And we also do, you'll see on there, we just released The Marshal, Bill Tillman's story.
Oh, that's right.
And yeah, that's a Western, and that's got horses too.
There you go. I love that.
I think that was best Western at the EQUUS Film Festival.
It did.
Last year.
I loved it.
Really
yeah, we showed that one in Camden too. That was one of my favorites. That's great.
Oh, sweet. Yeah. And so that was very exciting to see that film get out there. And it's in Walmart. It's in all kinds of VOD platforms. But anyway, there's just so much. Oh, and by the way, Hope's Legacy has this tremendous wedding in it. And so we had partnered with amazing people like Stacy Bowen for the flowers, Check Her Flowers Out. And then we also partnered with a catering company, 11 Courses Catering, who's the chef in the movie. And so look out for him as too. Yeah, it's Chef Jim is his name. And so many other great people. But, I'm just so privileged to work with a community of people with like-minded ideas to get these wonderful stories out there. And I appreciate you interviewing me to tell my story a little bit. And so, thank you very much.
We'll look forward to whatever comes next.
That's awesome.
For more information or to purchase tickets, please visit brookeusa.org. We're going to take a quick break for a sneak peek at some exciting news. We'll be speaking with Julie Veloo, Vice President at Veloo Foundation and General Roustabout at Horse Trek Mongolia. In response to the COVID-19 fundraising predicament, Julie is developing a special plan for a different type of fundraiser. Although the Gobi Gallop's normal routine is impossible this year due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Julie and her team have an announcement for a temporary fundraising effort that will also teach the world about Mongolia, its culture, and its people. So can you tell me, how have you changed the ride for this year? Because I know that fundraising aspect for all these kids and the work that you do for education is crucial. So what have you been able to do even in this COVID era to be able to continue?
So one of the things that was interesting was, because I was here in June, like the early part of the year, and the restrictions in Mongolia at the time didn't allow for anything. We weren't allowed to gather in groups of more than 5, and everything was locked down. The borders were closed, everything, which is one of the reasons why we have no COVID in Mongolia. But since I've been back, which I came back at the end of August and went through quarantine and whatnot, I realized that now those restrictions have lifted, and I am possibly the only foreign person at the moment on the planet, who's capable of, or has the opportunity, I should say, to go out and undertake a big endurance challenge across Mongolia. And so I decided I'm going to do the Gobi Gallop by myself. I'm going to do the Gobi Gallop solo challenge. So I'm going to go out there. I'm starting on the 8th of October, which is going to be interesting because, Mongolia is a pretty cold country, and October is one of those very questionable months. It can be okay, but it can also snow a lot. So it might be cold. It might be snowy. We'll see. So the goal is to ride the Gobi Gallop as fast as I can. So hoping to knock a few days off the 10 days that it normally takes us to do the 700 kilometers. And I'm going to be doing just a ton of really interesting, I hope, and useful stuff for people out there who are interested in Mongolia. So it's not just, video and whatnot of me riding, or my Mongolian friends who will be riding with me from time to time. It's going to be a lot about the history, a lot about the culture, a lot about the landscape that I'm riding through, information about the tack, about the saddles, about the culture, the history. We'll be doing some traditional Mongolian songs, cooking some traditional Mongolian food. I'm going to have some Mongolian celebrities join me for like an hour or two here and there, because they can't manage. Like, no, there isn't anybody. There's nobody who wants to come and ride. I'm hoping to see if I can do as much as 100 kilometers a day. And this is interesting too, because it really is true endurance, because we're going to have more. Normally the Gobi Gallop, we do 2 horses per rider for the whole 700 kilometers. But because it's as close to winter as it is, and it's, any strain on the horse at this time of year is much more of a serious matter than it is, in the beginning of summer when they have time to put the weight back on if they should lose weight or whatnot. So we're going to be having probably more like 4 horses per rider. And if I do manage to do 100 kilometers a day, which is what I'm hoping for, there'll be 2 horses per day. And then those 2 horses will be resting and grazing while I use another 2 horses to do the following day. So Bagi, who is he's the head guide at Horse Trek Mongolia, and he's the guy who organizes the horses and does all of that sort of care. He's the one who has make sure that they're in condition and trained to do the Gobi Gallop normally. Yeah. He sort of has it all sourced and figured out how we can manage this without putting too much of a strain on the horses. He doesn't seem to care so much about putting a strain on me, but
I guess he figures you'll take care of yourself. He's worried about them.
He's like, da, 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 sure, why not? Da, da, da. When I told him this idea, it took him, there was him and Sarah both, they were about, I don't know, half a second. They were like, sure, let's do it. That'll be fun. But I want to talk about rangeland management and some other, with the guides, and we'll be doing vlogs for this and live streams and Instagram posts and all kinds of stuff. And actually, the young fellow that works with us at Veloo Foundation is a documentary filmmaker, and so he's going to be putting together some stuff to try and do a short documentary about it, which I'm hoping it will be something that will show everybody what it's really like to ride Mongolia, because I think people have a lot of misconceptions about what it's like.
Sure.
And just there's a lot of people out there, I think, who are interested in Mongolia, who are currently locked in their house and not able to come and ride, or they're not able to, even maybe not even get out on their own horses. And so if I can give people something useful and interesting to follow along with, that would be great. And all I ask is that anybody who's interested in all of this stuff, take a minute to join our monthly sponsorship program. And people can join at any level. You can pledge $5 a day. $5 a day, that would be nice. $5, yeah, $5 a month. I don't care. You think about, instead of buying, a cup of Starbucks coffee, you could give $5 a month to the kids in Mongolia. And the thing is, 100% of the money goes to the kids, all of it. Mm-hmm. So my husband and I, we run our foundation. We don't take any of the money for ourselves. In fact, we pay all the operating expenses of the overhead of our foundation staff ourselves. And so the project people, their salaries and whatnot comes from donations and from the money we raise from the Gobi Gallop and other rides. So we have, in the 7 years we've been doing it, between the Gobi Gallop and the Gobi Gallop Gala, which is this absolutely wonderful big party that we do every year at the end of the ride with about 300 or 400 local people from here in Mongolia. And we put on this great dance and charity auction. And there's always performances from really famous people. Trying to get the Who band to be part of it. I'm working on it. We'll see how it goes. Oh. I know. Wouldn't that be great?
That would be great.
Wouldn't that be super? So I actually have a meeting with the Who band manager next week. So fingers are crossed on that one.
Definitely.
But so in the 7 years we've been doing it, we've managed to raise $543,000 for the kids. And so all of that money goes to the kids, and then all of the money that people pay for all of their rides stays in Mongolia. So it's either helping, our local herder families or local businesses and their artisans or whatnot. So that's one of the things that I think I've just realized lately, really, that there's something that I can speak to, to the people out in the world who are interested in having, a really great, authentic Mongolian experience, a real adventure with Mongolian people, by Mongolian people, but, sort of for everybody on the planet. And so it's a very different experience coming and getting to be part of this really fantastic family and all of what they have to offer. And to be able to do that and know that you're you're supporting not just them and the local herder families and whatnot, but changing the lives of thousands of kids who would otherwise be scavenging in the garbage dump. I mean, really, how do you say no to that? Who could say no to that? Who could say no? Yeah.
Well, you're doing amazing things, and what a brilliant idea, because I think so many people are going to be interested in following your journey and figuring it all out. And so they can follow your personal Instagram page and the Horse Trek Mongolia Instagram page and Horse Trek Mongolia and Gobi Gallop Facebook page. Will it all be on all of those, or you're going to do sort of different things for the different platforms?
So I think I think there are going to be different things on different platforms. And so we have a young and very technologically competent young man named Tugeldorf who's going to be doing the Gobi Gallop and Facebook whatnot. And I'll be doing my personal stuff. Okay. So probably a lot more of the vlog kind of stuff will be like on my personal page. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I've done the Gobi Gallop. I've ridden every step of every Gobi Gallop that has ever been done. So never, I almost sat in the car once, but then we decided we were going to buy a horse. So then if I was going to buy a horse, I wasn't going to go sit in the car. I was going to go buy the horse. Yeah, I was going to ride. Yes, exactly. And by the time we bought the horse, I was feeling better. So, and he's a stallion now that is the father of my baby, my mare's baby. So, I mean, it all comes around. But I know how tired I'm going to be. Like, I'm under no illusion. And so, I mean, and the other thing that I think is actually kind of cool is that on the 29th of September, I'm turning 60. So this is kind of one of those things it's a good way to kick off the next decade, start as you mean to go on, so to speak. So I'm excited about, I'm excited. It really is, I'm calling it the solo challenge. And it really is a challenge for me to get out there and see there isn't anybody else. Like normally on the Gobi Gallop, I'm sort of helping all of the riders and encouraging them and organizing them and making sure that all works out. And, I mean, it's a big deal for people to fly around the world and get on horses they don't know and, a riding style they don't know. And then, of course, on the Gobi Gallop, I make everybody ride in a Mongolian saddle for at least 20 kilometers they have to do. And people, like, it's a solid wooden saddle. And so people either love it or they hate it. I mean, that's all I ride in now. But at first I hated it, I'll be honest. But I've learned how to ride in it, and now I love it. So growth is possible, as it turns out.
Definitely. Well, I'm so excited to follow the journey and to see how things go. When will all of this start?
I am leaving. The journey begins on the 8th of October, Mongolian time. So the 8th of October, the morning of the 8th of October will be the evening of the 7th of October for most of North America.
Okay.
And so, we're heading off in the morning, and rain, shine, hail, sleet, snow, sort of like the Postal Service, doesn't matter what. It doesn't matter what, we're going to be going. And so it was funny because the date was chosen as an auspicious day. So there's, when you're starting something like this, also the Mongolian thing, there's certain days you can't start trips on. And, there's a lot of superstitions or traditions around, how to make things auspicious. And so I'm actually excited to talk to people about, the real Mongolia, which is more than just, people think about crazy bucking horses and whatnot. And so, our horses are not crazy. They're not bucking. People will be amazed when they see just how great they are and how far they can go and how well behaved they are. At least hopefully that's what they get to see, is how well behaved they are. That's what I'm counting on.
Exactly. Well, and hopefully that will make more people want to do it in the future. When we're all back to normal, this is going to bring you a whole new fan base and a whole new rider base, I would imagine.
I hope so. I really hope so. Like it's, I mean, part of the thing is, I've gone and done horse shows and whatnot before, and people are always confusing us with the Mongol Derby, which I'm not. The Mongol Derby is a great event for what it is, for people who want that kind of really seriously hardcore personal challenge. This is, it's a great event. We are a very, very different event, and like I said before, because we have 2 horses per rider, and so the horse's endurance has to be very well managed. And so it's not like you can just get on and gallop for 35 kilometers and swap the horse out. Or even, gallop and walk the horse. And I know that they have lots of requirements for the safety of the horse and all that. But it just is a very different thing. When you're looking at a horse and you have to manage it for 35 kilometers, it's very different than if you're looking at a horse and having to manage it, for 700 kilometers.
Right.
And so, there's that. And, I always say, that's, definitely, obviously it's a race, and the Gobi Gallop is much more of a team sport. So the goal is to get all of the people and all of the horses across the finish line 700 kilometers later, happy, healthy, and having had the best experience of their life. So, so this time, the only people we're getting across the line is me.
Well, I know, I can tell already you're going to make it, and it's going to be great. And I can't wait to watch. I really can't.
I hope so. I hope it's all going to go. That's what when I had this idea, actually, it was not even my idea. I have to admit, it was my brother's idea, because I was, telling him we didn't have the Gallop this year. And so, I mean, really, I'm not going to wax lyrical about it. Without the Gallop, we're many thousands of dollars short of where we normally would be. And our kids need the money more now this year than they normally do, because they've just been in lockdown since January. So when our kids go into isolation or into lockdown, their life gets markedly worse, because, the families don't have any resources for them. So they're not warm, they're not fed, they're not educated. They're back to the situation that we were trying to get them out of. In order, that's why we built the kindergartens, and we, did our after school homework help program. And that's why, why we do the summer camp, and we have our scholarship program, and, why we have all our employment initiatives and everything, is because working at getting everybody off of the garbage dump. And so as soon as, of course, all of that's taken away, then they're just sort of back where they started from. So, so it's more important than ever for us that we be able to provide all the programs and services that we normally do, and expand them. And of course, it's more challenging because, our corporate sponsors, of course, everybody on the whole planet is, being affected by the COVID in ways, in many, many different ways. And so anyway, I thought this might be something that would provide value for people, that people would be interested in, and and might open up the world of Mongolia a little bit more, to more people, and also get them to see that it's possible to have a truly epic adventure, and do some good in the world at the same time. So.
Right. Exactly. Well, Julie, thank you so much for talking to me about it and for sharing the story. And I just can't wait. I'd love to come and visit you one day.
I would love for you to come and ride with me. Absolutely. We're going to have to find a way to make this happen.
Yes,
this is going to happen.
Work on it. Oh, wow.
Yeah. There's going to be a plan. I'm not sure what it is, but there's going to be a plan.
I'd like to take a few minutes from the podcast to tell you about a new product that my horse Winston and I have been trying. Winston just loves his liquid titanium calming mask from Fenwick Equestrian. We actually tried it out on the first cool morning as we were going over for a dressage lesson, and I have to say, he almost fell asleep standing by the trailer, so I think the calming effect was real. Through some extensive testing, Fenwick has discovered the use of a high-performance smart fabric, and this mask has a calming effect on many horses. In fact, some folks call it a happy hat. In the racing world, thoroughbreds and trotters, the stewards have declared it a hood if worn without cups, but I've got the one with the ears, and Winston seems to like that the best. Liquid titanium produces negative ions, which have been proven to make you feel better. They provide more energy and a positive mood. This fabric is specially formulated to allow continuous washing and drying without diluting the qualities. It's the first and only therapeutic mask that can help your horse relax and focus naturally, and Winston seems to love it. All of Fenwick's therapeutic headgear is approved for competition worldwide. You can search for the mask and other products at fenwickequestrian.com. To obtain your 10% discount, just mention Winnie. Visit fenwickequestrian.com /discount /Winnie, and that's WNNIE.